With South Africa wasting 10.3 million tons of food waste annually, the Zero Waste Summit held at Makers Landing in the V&A waterfront highlighted the urgent need for radical waste reduction strategies.
So at the V&A waterfront, it is quite challenging to manage food waste. We have over 100 restaurants, and even though we do daily collections, we have to realize that we have very little control about the waste that is generated at source because that happens within the tenancies. And so from the onset, it was quite important for us to build strong relationships with our tenants and make sure that they understand our waste separation at source policies and procedures. So we work alongside our tenants. We give them training. We give them bins to separate their waste and educational posters. We even have a dedicated team that will go out to them, do waste characterization and analysis, and give them tips and tricks on how to improve their separation at source. In the last couple of years, we've seen growth and success in that space. And in the last year, for instance, we've managed to divert 67% of all the waste that we generate on the site. That includes about 200 tons of organic waste per month.
Zero to Landfill Organics, a local waste management service, highlighted the importance of addressing food waste at the household level.
I do composting of food waste, and food waste is an amazing process where bacteria and fungi actually break it down, and in that process they create heat so hot that you could actually have a warm bath from water heated through compost. So when we turn our compost heaps, we have this amazing steam that comes off on a cool day, and we can actually see the waste being processed and reducing in volume because this water vapor is coming off this material by this beautiful action of the bacteria and the fungi. So we want to reduce the amount of waste that we're producing. So when we peel our potatoes, use a potato peeler, not a knife. So you can actually use more of the food and stop throwing it in the dustbin. So it's becoming mindful of how we use our food when we buy it. Because they say that we're basically buying 4 bags of food and leaving one on the pavement at the shop. That's how much food we throw away every month, just because we're not taking care. And making sure we eat the food that's about to go off before it goes off, not off, and not throwing it away.
Cape Town International Convention Centre's renowned executive chef Roberto Di Carvalho shared his culinary wisdom, tackling food waste in his kitchen while shedding light on South Africa's urgent challenge of hunger.
To avoid waste is not to create waste. So we've done silly things like reducing the size of plates at dish-up stations so that people dish up less. That means that we can produce less. That means that we can have less that goes to wastage. Because what we found is when you have bigger plates, people just dish up more food and then they don't finish all the food and half the plate goes to waste. And just on that, we saw that we were having up to 10 tons of food going to landfill at that time before we started making the changes.
Despite South Africa's status as a significant food producer, millions of its people still struggle with food insecurity. For Di Carvalho, the journey towards change starts in our own homes and communities.
We've started with small initiatives looking at feeding everybody that works at the CTICC up to 9,000 meals in a month. At least 70% of that food is coming from food that we rescue. So we do a food rescue where we take food back that was put out for events and make sure that it's kept optimal so that we can still feed it to the staff. Because a lot of people say, no, you should be giving it to charity or you should be putting it out there. But there's a lot of logistics around doing that. And I also believe that charity begins at home.
I think one of the key issues is that people do not plan around waste. So when you think about the layout of a commercial kitchen and how you allocate space for separation at source, we find those areas are still lacking, where people do not stop to consider how they manage their waste, how do they separate out the organics, and then that often leads to contamination. So we have an on-site facility where we further sort all the waste that we collect, and we have a team of people, about 130 people dedicated to waste management on a daily basis to make sure that we separate as much organic and as much recyclable material as possible before we send waste to landfill.
The summit's impact extends beyond the event itself as participants carry forward the knowledge and connections forged during the gathering. As collaborations continue to grow and new initiatives take root, the summit's influence will contribute to the ongoing efforts to reduce food waste, support local food systems, and ensure that every individual has access to nutritious and affordable food. For Cape Town Daily, I am Selomina Pikelela in Cape Town.